Assalamu alaikum. It's your local Muslim divorce attorney. I've been thinking about housewives, alimony, divorce. Weird combination, but it's really interesting because I think that the way that the divorce laws are set up, the way that the system is set up, capitalism, all this other stuff, it really disincentivizes being a housewife, right? And I can see it being risky for both sides, right? It's risky for the wife to be a housewife. It's risky for the husband to have a housewife. From the wife's perspective, her argument's going to be that if I'm a housewife and God forbid something happens to my husband, he passes away or we get divorced, then I sacrifice my career for the kids. The guy's going to say, well, if she's a housewife and I'm paying for everything and we get divorced, well, now I got to pay her alimony for, God knows how long. And so it's pretty risky on both sides. I think that, again, Islam has the solution, right? Because Islam tells us that the purpose of life is not to gain money. It's not to have the biggest house. It's not to have the best job. It's not to make the best income and to live this luxurious life. But rather, the purpose of life is obvious to obey Allah and to worship Allah, but also to raise a family. And I think that if we understood the value of raising a family, right, and we actually encouraged our sisters to be housewives or to focus on the home or to raise their kids and, sacrifice their career, whatever the case might be, but alongside the Islamic parameters of alimony and marital property and all of that, I think that's really when you're able to actually have housewives thrive. Besides that, if you think that I sacrifice after 10 years, let's say, God forbid, 10 years, you're a housewife and you're getting divorced now and you sacrificed your career, quote unquote. Now you are, let's say you're on your own and your husband did really well. But I guess my question is that, okay, there's an argument maybe that anything with both of your names on it, you're going to get 50% of that. But I don't necessarily understand, why is it the husband's obligation to support someone after the contract is over, right? And I think, again, it goes back to this idea that the spouse is everything, that, death do us part, your husband, his money is your money. And therefore, if we ever get divorced, it's his job to support me for the foreseeable future or to pay me back for the sacrifices. But I think we're only looking at marriage then from one perspective. That makes it seem like the only person that's benefiting from the marriage is the husband. That when the house or when the wife decides that she's going to stay home, or the family decides that the wife is going to stay home, for some reason we make it seem like only the husband is benefiting, right? But that's not necessarily the lens to look at it. I think that both parties are benefiting. The wife is benefiting because she is maximizing her ibadah in terms of raising the family. And her benefit is that she gets time with the kids. Whereas the husband, I feel, it could be argued, is sacrificing their time with the kids in order to leave to go provide for the home. So both parties are benefiting. Both parties are sacrificing. And again, that whole notion of alimony afterwards to recompense for something, this doesn't make sense in my mind. That being said, again, the whole point of this was going back to encouraging housewives and to make sure that our women and our sisters actually want to become housewives. And I think, again, that goes back to capitalism, materialism, that most people are thinking that I'm going to lose all the luxuries of life. I'm going to lose the private school. I'm going to lose the nice house. I'm going to lose all these things. But my argument would be that for a person who raises their kids, right, that is going to be the best return on investment for them. And that's the benefit that you're going to get, and that's the reward that you're going to get that's unmatched, as opposed to having a big house. And I would also say that it makes more sense for a kid to go to public school and have a stay-at-home mother who's, or I mean, I don't want to say father, this is a stay-at-home mother who's there to take care of the child, versus somebody who works and is able to then send their kids, if the mom works and is able to send their kids to private school. So just a lot to think about, making sure that we reprioritize our priorities, family being first, Islam being first, and obviously we want to live a good life, but I think we have to think more generationally. We got to think more long term, that the better investment is to raise kids that will live on Islam, that will spread Islam, that have a connection with their family, that have a connection with their mother, with their father, have that family setting in this atomized, lonely world. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, allow me to understand this topic more and be able to educate all of you more on this topic, and just my thoughts on marriage, divorce, alimony, and how the Islamic paradigm is always better than any other paradigm. Jazakumullahu khairan. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.